Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong have a lot of NPCs, and I mean a lot. Having so many NPCs between the two games, it would only be natural for some of them to be similar to one another. So this is me trying to find the counterparts from the NPCs of Hollow Knight in Hollow Knight Silksong. Of course, I will be stretching some comparisons in the video since I am making this for fun. But I'm not stopping there though. I'm going to be picking which of the two NPCs I prefer to express my opinion, so feel free to degrade me in the comments. Salubra loves collecting charms, and Eva loves it when you collect crests. Both of them provide you with upgrades. One provides you with notches when you get enough charms, and the other provides you with extra tool slots when you have enough crests. But that's not the only reason why I decided to put these two together. The main reason is the soul regeneration while resting. Now if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking Eva. Easily. For starters, she doesn't go oh ho 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 every time I'm on a bench. I swear to god, I'm trying to record for my videos sometimes and I have to mute the audio because Salubra keeps finishing on the knight's head. Okay, annoyance aside, I also feel like Eva has better lore than Salubra, so it just makes sense picking her. Also, she kinda has a soft voice that goes ah. Moving on to Myla, or Myla, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, but she's adorable. She doesn't really have any purpose. All she does is dig for crystals and sings a lot. But eventually she gets taken over with infection and attempts to kill you. If the knight defends himself by beating her, she leaves the world with her final singing breath. And her counterpart is Sherma. I know all of you saw this coming, but at least pretend to be surprised. Sherma is a pilgrim from Silksong who makes his way to the Citadel through the last judge optionally and doesn't die, making him entirely sinless. Also, the boy can sing. You know who I'm gonna pick, don't you? Sherma doesn't try to kill me, and he's a bigger part of the story instead of just being a side character, so I just have to settle with him. Quirrel is one of my favorite NPCs from Hollow Knight, right after Hornet. He plays a very important role in the game who's given the task by his mentor Monomon to look after her mask. Not to mention, he even helps the knight beat one of the most important bosses in the game. He also chills with the knight in the City of Tears. Unfortunately though, he does not seem to either pass away or move on in his journey, leaving hollowness behind. Even in his final moments, we can sit beside him one last time. The only NPC I can think of that takes his place is Garmond. He optionally fights beside us and looks forward to putting an end to the Citadel's oppression. Unfortunately, the Void does take over him, and he also meets a tragic end, but not before saluting Hornet for how strong she had gotten, and rewarding you with his hero's memento. As hard as this decision is, I'm gonna have to pick Quirrel. He brings more lore, he helps me directly with something I cannot do without him, and I just like him more. Sorry, sexy balls. Milibel the banker is an NPC in Hollow Knight, or should I say not a banker in Hollow Knight. This old woman pretends to be a sweet old bug, but after you deposit your money, she runs away with it. But thankfully, after we find the old fart, we can get our money back by juggling her as much as I want to juggle Grandmother Silk's big ass. I feel like Grindle is her accurate counterpart. He's a thief who steals off of others, and not to be racist, his entire species steals off of others. Having to pick between the two, there's no way I'm gonna pick this wrinkly sack of shit. They're both bad, but hey, at least Grindle could sell me the lucky dice, and I know he's scamming me, but still, I'd rather be scammed than be stolen from. Relic Seeker Lem. This guy doesn't do much. He just takes artifacts from you in return for money since he's a collector, and talks to you with a raspy voice. You guys already know who the counterpart is again, don't you? It's this guy. He also collects artifacts from you and gives you a price, but an unfair one. But hey, it's still money. I'm picking this guy because he gives a lot more money, but just to let you guys know, this decision was not easy, because he goes... Moving on, we have the last stag. I cannot tell you how goated this guy is. Not only is his story incredibly sad, it's deep enough for him to deserve his own minigame in my opinion. After you unlock all of the stags, he eventually opens up to you about looking for more of his kind, after which he changes his name to the Old Stag. In Silksong, however, we have the Bellbeast. She isn't a friend of Hornet's and feels more like a pet since, you know, we can pet her. She also has some pretty cute looking pups, all of whom you can bounce like a ball, so that's pretty cute. Now, as goated as the last deck is, Bellbeast unfortunately gets the point for me. This wasn't an easy decision, but hey, Loot Cinema. Confessor GG. This guy is also a vibe. He holds himself inside a cave and isolates himself away from reality while living off of rotten eggs. He just like me for real, no b****s and has social anxiety. He has the ability to recall your shade, regardless of where you died at the cost of a rancid egg. In Silksong, we have Sticks. He's a bit different to say the least, and also has an understandable kink for being dominated. But you know, instead of recalling your cocoon, he just gives you silk eaters that basically just do the same job, but better. If I had to give a point here, I'd pick Sticks, because I like him more. No other reason. Definitely not because I have the same kink as him or anything. Steel Soul Jin is an NPC who replaces GG in Steel Soul mode. She doesn't really do much other than giving you money for your rancid eggs. There isn't much for me to add here since I never really beat Hollow Knight on Steel Soul mode, but moving on, in Silksong as comparison we have Skinks. Trust me when I say this, he literally serves the same exact purpose as Steel Soul Jin. Now this is a very difficult decision for me to make because both of them serve the exact same purpose and everything, and they both caught me off guard, so I'm just gonna give this one a tie. Moving on, in Hollow Knight we have the Hunter. This menacing guy gives us his journal to fill out, and the way we do that is by roaming all of Hallownest. Doing this will get us some cool trivia facts about all of the different enemies. After killing enough of all of the enemies, you get an achievement calling you a true hunter. Moving on to Silksong, we have New as the Hunter's counterpart. The concept is the same. He likes to kill enemies, give you a journal to fill, and after you kill enough of them, gives you a true hunter's achievement along with the hunter's memento. I'm gonna have to give this point to the hunter cause what the actual even is new. Bro's entire genetic genome works against his hunting hobby. I mean, the guy's pink for sake. In Hollow Knight we have the Midwife. She's located somewhere in the deepness and provides the knight a lot of lore about Hornet. Also, it's probably been years she has last eaten and is understandably hungry. Moving on to Silksong, we have the Huntress. Okay, this one is quite the reach, but Huntress also has the desire to kill Hornet, just to feed her young ones. But eventually in Act 3, she ends up being eaten and her child is left there, presumably to replace her. In Act 2 though, she gives you one annoying chore to get her child support, basically asking you to do her job. This is not a hard decision to make. I'm gonna have to pick the Midwife, because there's no way you're gonna ask me to run errands for you and expect me to be okay with it. I don't care if I got a tool, I don't care how broken it is, this woman does not get to order me around. She's lucky that I wanted that 100%. Moving on, we have the Nailsmith. I like this guy a lot. He's pretty chill and goes Jonsha. Though I feel like he cares too much about his job and ends up taking it too far at the end where he asks you to kill him with your nail. He does this solely to feel the sharpness of it, which is pretty messed up. But if you don't kill him, he turns into a gay lover of Painmaster Shio. Wait, I just realized that's why Painmaster Shio uses colors of the gay flag. Ew. Moving on to Silksong, we have Pinmaster Pliny. He's quite literally the Silksong version of the Nailsmith, upgrading Hornet's nail. Having to pick one of them, I'm going to have to pick Pinmaster Pliny. He does not take himself too seriously and he isn't f***ing gay. In Hollow Knight, we have the Nail Masters. All of them teach you something valuable, giving the knight incredibly skilled nail arts. They each have their own unique lore and their own problems. Moving on to Silksong, we have the Pinstress, the Seamstress, and the Dead Master in Purified Ducks. I instantly noticed the same dynamic between the two Pinstresses, being similar to Oro and Mado when I first played the game. If I had to pick between the two groups, I'm going to have to pick the Nail Masters, cause what the f is this boss fight? I am not going to pick a boss that has a primal aspid attack. In Hollow Knight we have the infamous This guy has a baddie for a wife. He's got guts and he loves his job. I swear this guy is the most dedicated person I've ever seen in a game. He goes near the abyss to make a map. In Silksong though, we have Map Mommy. Now Map Mommy is tall, strong, and cartography is mostly a hobby for her. She helps Hornet with a lot more than she deserves and even has a majestic voice. Please don't make me pick between the two. Alright, I'm going to be picking Chakra solely because I'm a simp and because she can also fight. Sorry, Cornifer. Zote. This guy is full of himself and honestly, I wouldn't have saved him. But the only reason I did was because I wanted to make my 44 Radiance video. His parallel version has to be Crat. Not because they're similar, but because I have similar hate for the two. If I had to choose between one or the other, I'd simply choose none and take a point from each of them instead. Grubfather. This guy eats all of his children. But don't worry, that's okay because that's for them to metamorphosis or something like that, I don't know. But they're okay with it. So hey, who am I to judge? In Silksong, we have Flea Master Mushka. He's basically asking you to collect all of the fleas for him so they can stick together or something. If I had to pick between the two, I'm picking the Flea Master because he seems pretty chill and can actually talk to you instead of going waha. Dreamers, Hera, Monomon, and Lurien. They act as keys to the Black Egg which stores the Hollow Knight. Now, I don't know why the Pale King wanted to pick the three of the most influential and knowledgeable bugs in Hollow Knight when he could have just picked 3 lifeblood overdosers who would be just as useless anyways. In Silksong, again, now, this is a stretch, but the memory bosses are a good comparison in my opinion. You need 3 Dreamers and 3 Memory Hearts, specifically the ones marked on the map. I'm gonna pick the memory bosses, not you. These 3, because Carmelita. Nightmare King Grim is one of the most badass characters I have ever seen. He performs, bows, and talks to you in a voice that sounds like he smokes 30 packs a day. He gives a child to raise for him. Okay, I don't mean it like that. Adoption, I mean adoption. In Silksong, we have Trobio. He's red, also performs by treating the fight like a dance and is overly dramatic. I love him, but as much as I love him, who wouldn't pick Nightmare King Grim? I mean, look at him, he's red. A better red. In Hollow Knight around the Ancestral Mounds, we have the Snail Shaman. You know, he's a pretty cool guy who has a pest in his house. So instead of taking care of it himself, he bestows a child the ability to cast a spell replicating a cannon. In Silksong, we have the Caretaker. He goes, and 2B races this this time, they look the same. But I'm gonna pick the Snail Shaman cause he doesn't betray us by spawning our Eldritch brothers. Elderbug is a warm and welcoming NPC in Hollow Knight. He is the first NPC we encounter in the game, and by talking to him, we can tell that he's been a good upstanding citizen in Hallownest. His counterpart in Silksong has to be Papo. Other than being a little zesty, he is also pretty welcoming. I'm gonna pick Papo because he pulls a Mr. Beast and gives me a home, and he waves at me every time he sees me. Marissa has a pretty tragic story in Hollow Knight. She's a singer with a beautiful voice. One day Marissa noticed that she was losing her audience slowly, but not because she was bad at what she did, but because the infection was taking over them. Slowly the numbers in her audience decreased, and not being able to cope with it, she died singing, becoming a dreamer who sings for all eternity until we free her at the price of losing her voice from the game forever. Her other version would be Carmelita. She also performs by singing, but not only does she sing, she can also fight and keeps the sanity of the scars in check, and not allowing the void to take over them entirely. I don't want to choose between the two. I like both of them a lot, so I'm using my creator's privilege to give this one a draw as well. In Hollow Knight, Isela is Cornifer's wife who goes She's a merchant in the game and also sells Cornifer's maps if you haven't bought those from him already. She even sells some of the most broken charms in the game. The only NPC from Silksong I could possibly reach to was the Forge daughter. She's a shopkeeper, and she's a woman. That's it. That's all the comparison I have. She can also help Hornet fix the silk shot, which is an added bonus on her end. Now, if I had to pick between the two, I'm obviously gonna pick the Forge daughter. I'm picking Bapa Nada. Look at that. Yacht! Guys, we're now at the last one, and we have the Dung Defender. This guy uses his poop to fight enemies. No, I'm not kidding, that's literally all he does. Also, he stinks because of it. His counterpart would be the Green Prince. Him and the other Green Prince rule a small kingdom known as Verdania, but it sadly fell apart. I wonder why. This is a hard decision because one plays with his poop and the other one is gay. I'm gonna pick the Dung Defender because he grants us a charm. No, I'm not giving him a point for a shitty crest, but I am giving him points because that crest unlocks a lot more dialogues with certain NPCs. Well, you've reached the end of the video now. Let me know in the comments whether or not you agree with my list and subscribe because it helps me out a lot.